What have I done? We've gone too far! We must go back.
For goodness sake, Tony, not another one.
You muddy fugglers, sit down. Get yourselves comfortable. We're going to read some news. Are we running too fast with the development of AI? Should we slow down and ponder how to move next? Are we even capable of doing that? Are things now set in motion for a continued precipitous advancement of AI and there's nothing we can do? Well, given how hacking is becoming more and more of an issue with these AI models, how much time do we have before these models could theoretically tear apart our entire digital infrastructure? Are we able to slow down long enough to make things more resilient or not? Well, along those lines is this article on TechCrunch, written by Anthony Ha, Sam Altman, and AI's Decel debate. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman recently said it may be time to pace the rate of AI development so that society can harden around some of these new capability levels. In one of the latest episodes of TechCrunch's Equity podcast, Kristen Korosek, Sean O'Kane, and I discussed how Sam Altman's comments were probably prompted by a recent hack in which an OpenAI agent breached Hugging Face's systems. Sean noted that while a hacking performed by an AI agent is novel, the hack itself was not some new advanced thing. It was more like Nixon's people breaking into Watergate than some real stealthy cyber op, because it didn't need to be. It wasn't instructed to be, Sean said. Hopefully, this is a sign that these companies will take this forward and be more careful about that stuff. Altman's comments also gave me a chance to wonder about the usefulness of the whole accelerationist versus deceleration debate, because, yes, I'm about to quote myself, the framing kind of suggests that there's only one path, and we all get to decide, in as much as we get to decide at all, is do we speed up or do we slow down? I don't know if we have the choice, but we'll see. Keep reading for a preview of our conversation, blah blah blah. Sean, maybe we'll finally hit an inflection point here. I think a big driver of this has to be what we talked about last week, with one of OpenAI models breaking into Hugging Face's data and apparently breaching a few other things around the internet as well. Altman's not calling for a pause like we've seen some people in the tech industry try to do in the past. He was very careful with his words and saying, pace it, and we'll see how this holds. Any caution that we see some of these labs throw out there often gets reversed when the incentives push them forward to resume full speed ahead. So I remain skeptical. Big surprise. Kirsten, now I will say this. Altman might have been careful with his words, but OpenAI and Anthropic did support a petition that does reflect what he did talk about. And I do agree with you. I think that a lot of this was very much triggered by Hugging Face. It probably spooked him and certainly a lot of people in the industry. The hard thing here is, how do you thread the needle, or how does OpenAI thread the needle of continuing to generate revenue, raise money, or have a successful IPO, and quote-unquote pace development? I don't know if they can do it. I'll be curious to see if they manage both. Anthony, one of the things I've been wrestling with is also this question of, is acceleration versus deceleration the right framework to be thinking about this? Because it kind of suggests that there's only one path and we're all stuck on this path. All we get to decide, in as much as we get to decide at all, is do we speed up or do we slow down? As opposed to, again, I'm going to really torture this metaphor, but do we build different guardrails? Do we choose different paths? I'm just very resistant to this framework. As opposed to saying, okay, if we're not happy about what models are doing right now, what else can we do? Is a slowdown, a pause, a stoppage the only option? And I don't think it is. One thing that I did want to emphasize again, because it's been really interesting to see the level of alarm around this, the sense of what if we have these autonomous agents and models just running around hacking each other, trying to prevent hacks. It's just all getting out of control, leading to all these broader debates about alignment that Rebecca Bellin did a great piece about. But it's worth coming back to one of the points that we also wrote about at TechCrunch, that this specific hack, yes, it was caused by an OpenAI model, but it sounds like they just didn't secure the testing site properly. In theory, this model should not have been able to get online. Now, of course, if you have a powerful misaligned AI, the risks of that human error go up dramatically. but it does start from just the fact that they didn't secure the things the way they should have. I didn't realize this was going to be a conversation between people, but it's still pretty interesting. A chap called Sean then said, "I think that's right. I think your point is well taken in this sense of we shouldn't only think about this in some linear fashion and whether things are accelerating or decelerating. There's a lot that could and should be said about just how responsible these companies are being." Lorenzo, one of our colleagues, also wrote a really good piece walking through how serious security researchers who pay attention to this stuff think that the hack really was. It really does seem like on both sides of this hack, there were steps that probably should have been taken that would have prevented it. And one of the things that I found most interesting in that story was that some of the researchers were pointing out that what this model did was not some new advanced thing. It was really very human in the way that it thought about trying to break into Triumph. Not to anthropomorphize, but the way it thought about breaking into Hugging Face, and that it was also very loud and messy and wasn't really trying to hide its tracks. Okay, but that's a reflection of the instructions it was given. If it was given instructions to be more clandestine, I'm sure it would have been. It was more like Nixon's people breaking into Watergate than some real stealthy cyber op, because it didn't need to be and wasn't instructed to be. Exactly. That should have been more easily preventable, and hopefully this is a sign that these companies will take this forward and be more careful about that stuff. I will say one other thing on the accel versus decel debate. I don't know if this is the motivation, but you mentioned the IPO, Kristen. I think it's smart of Altman to be able to push this advantage that they have now, which is that OpenAI is not going to the markets next month or 2 months from now. He's even floating the idea of going in 2027, and that they only filed their confidential filing so that they have the option ready when they are ready. So if you believe all of that, he has the ability to talk this talk in a way that Anthropic can't, because Anthropic's already in conversation with a lot of the bankers and is headed towards a more near-term IPO, and is therefore more restricted in what it can say and how it should be saying it, and how the market is going to react to that. It's a strange clash between investment and holding back on releasing new products because of the danger they pose to the world around us. And if they're able to hack systems now, and these companies are continuing to train these models and make them even more competent, then the problems that we're contemplating now are going to become more tangible further down the road when these systems are even more capable, or open source models are able to perform the same functions, which is interesting to see open source models being vilified and these more big tech companies, large language models, given the keys to the city, I guess, that they're allowed to push their products in ways that a lot of these open source, perhaps Chinese models aren't. This seems like a disaster that is coming down the road, and basically the concern here is that investors want to invest into products that are going to return them money. And if those products aren't being released because they're dangerous, those investors are going to perhaps not invest so much. So what you have is a situation where publicly facing tools are becoming dangerous and are effectively weaponizable. So the investors that perhaps were hoping for a return, that return is going to have to wait maybe before other systems out there have been made more robust. There needs to be some way to get in front of these unknown unknowns. I imagine backing stuff up a lot, using AI-based antivirus systems, I guess, looking ahead and finding vulnerabilities and patching them. I wonder if some websites and services will just be discontinued. I wonder if they'll just be shut down because there's not enough money involved in fixing them, and there's too much potential danger in them being used against whoever's still using them. I wonder then if there will also be some, I don't know, tax rebates or financial incentives for some companies to upgrade their systems. Perhaps they're using old Windows 3.1s to run their cider bottling factory or whatever, and they need to update because that version will no longer connect to the internet. Maybe it's not allowed because you don't want it to accidentally be hacked and cause poisonous cider to be distributed. That's an unknown unknown. I don't know. I just described that. It's now known. You can take that with you and give that to mongers of apple cider. Shiz is about to get complicated, and I'm not sure what the solution is, except point those same systems that are going to break things apart at our systems that are going to be broken apart and try and shore them up and maybe shut down a whole bunch of old things that people are using that are no longer effectively financially viable, because these investors, they want their money, and broken old systems exploiting people is not a good thing. But that is going to be it for now. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you are, if you like what I do, consider pressing that like button. Proper like me. You can also follow me. If you follow me where you're at, that's fine, but a good place to follow me would also be x.com/ultraswinery. That's the goodiest place, because that's where I post all my other pigly related content. But that is it for now, and the only thing I have left to say is Pigwig out.
Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oink, oink, wee, squeal, snort, snort, oinkity, squee. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Snort, snuffle, oink, squee, squeal, wee, snort, oinkity, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, wee, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, wee, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Squeal, squeal. Snort, shuffle, oink, re-squeal, re-snort, oinky, oinkity, oink, 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 snuffle, re-squeeze, snort, oink, squeal, oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, re, snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 re, oh. Squeal, squeal, snort, snuffle,